Welcome to my messy library. Let's talk about books. So today I have a quick hit TBR video for the month of November. I have a couple of really ambitious goals for this month outside of just writing 50,000 words for NaNoWriMo, which is like the biggest goal every November always. I also host Thanksgiving and I'll be traveling for Thanksgiving as well this year for the first time in a couple of years. So I've got a lot going on, but I have a pretty ambitious TBR because I want to present to you guys at the end of this month a summary video of all of the most widely available Christmas romance novels that you can find at your Walmart or your half-price books, or, you know, sort of things that are very easily accessible. So I've got some of those. I've got some other things that I'm reading as well that I'll continue to be reading throughout the month, but I'm going to show you starting from my non-Christmas stories, and then I'll show you the Christmas stories that I plan to read. So my non-Christmas stories that I'm going to read this month, I will be continuing with my read-through of The Wheel of Time. This is the third book in the series, The Dragon Reborn. About 50 pages into it thus far, and that's all that 50 pages looks like, which is scary. Not really, but it is kind of scary. It's a 650-page book, so I'll be reading this, you know, throughout the month. I had planned on trying to get it finished by November 19th, which I might still be able to do. It just kind of depends on how I'm feeling and what how I get things accomplished this month. But if I don't get through it, I don't think it's going to ruin the TV show watching experience. I got kind of stumbled there if I haven't finished it, because they've said only a couple things are coming from book 3. So I don't think I'm going to get spoiled for anything, and I also don't think that it's going to play that big of a part, especially in the first series, or in the first season. So overall, not too worried about it. Also likely that the book 3 stuff won't come in until later, and they're dropping 3 at once, and then, you know, 1 a week after that, and there's 8. So likelihood is I won't be missing anything by not having this one finished. So I will just continue to work on it little by little as I want to read it. Some days I'm really into spending 2 or 3 hours, you know, knocking out 70 pages of this. Other nights I'm not so interested in it. So I've got a lot to read this month, so we'll see. I'll try to be the most efficient as possible. Next up in books that are not Christmas books that I'll be reading this November is Soundtracks by John Acuff. So I am in a life coaching style program, and this book is the group read for the month of November. And they'll be interviewing the author, and there's lots of thinking questions that go along with it. So I will be reading this probably my nighttime right before I go to bed type read. I'll probably also get it on audio. That way I can get through it a little bit faster. But I definitely wanted to own this one because this is all about overthinking and rewriting the, I guess, soundtrack. I mean, it's called Soundtracks, right? Like, that's the point. But rewriting the things that you say over and over in your head that kind of push you to not take the chances that you want to take and not do the things that you want to do in your life. So that's what this story is, or that's what this nonfiction book is about. The actual form factor is really cool, really stunning. This is the under the cover, which is just like, look at that. Look at how cool that is. I mean, come on. That's such a cool book that I want it for my shelves even if I don't read it physically with my eyes. I did order this several months ago. I didn't know it was going to be the book club pick, so I already had it available to me. So I have the physical copy. I don't know that I'll be reading it in a physical copy, but we will see. I will be requesting from my library though to see if I can Audible listen to it. Next up is my massive stack of Christmas stories, and I'll just go ahead and pick those up. What? There are so many here. But these are romance novels, and they're usually pretty quick for me to get through. Even if I do decide to read all of them physically. I got a lot of these at really reduced prices. Most of them under $7 for sure. Some of them even less than that. So that's, wow. So that is that. I'll go through each of these really quickly and just tell you the title and, a quick understanding what I understand of it at this exact moment. And again, I've got, I don't know, I didn't count, 8 Christmas novels here. Chances are I won't be getting through all of these in November. This might go into the December times, and I will definitely update you at the end of the month about that. If I do happen to get through all of them, which I believe most of these are available on audio, which if I can get them from my library, I can read them pretty quickly that way. So I will go through each of these and I'll read you the title and the author's name. And that's pretty much all I know about any of them, unless I've happened to have read the synopsis, which I'll give you a quick update on if I have. So first up is Keep Me Warm at Christmas by Brenda Novak. This is about a Hollywood starlet who has had an accident and is no longer able to, you know, maintain her career, and it's about an artist who left an unhappy marriage and is now trying to sort of figure out his life. This, I believe, is a 2021 Christmas release. I did find it at Target, so ignore that wonderful Target sticker. This is not the kind of thing I normally would pick up, but the actual, like I read the first 2 or 3 pages at Target, and I was really interested in the way the character described herself. And again, I think it's a pretty quick read, even though it is, you know, 400-ish or pages, you know, maybe 402 pages. It'll probably be a pretty quick read, so I'm excited for that one. Next up, I have a couple of Sarah Morgan stories. This one is One More for Christmas. This is kind of similar to the vein of the story that I'm planning on writing. So this is one that's very high up on my list of books that I want to read this month. It is about 2 daughters who are both going through a lot in their life, and then their mom decides to come to Christmas after many years of being sort of absent. And I'm really interested in this because parent-child dynamics, especially as adults, are really interesting to me. And that's a lot of what I'm writing about in this story, is going to be about my male main character and his relationship with his father as an adult. So I think this is going to be an interesting examination, and it might be the next book that I actually pick up after I finish what I'm currently reading. So that is this Sarah Morgan. Then I have The Christmas Sisters. This is a Highlands of Scotland, 3 sisters getting together for Christmas celebrations, each with their own significant, unique struggles. This is definitely classed as women's fiction, but it is super popular if you search for Christmas stories. I think there's definitely some romance involved, and I'm excited to see how that lays out because, again, family dynamics at Christmas, not necessarily just romance, but that is very much what I'm writing about this year. So this is very much up the alley of what I'm interested in reading. Another big one, I think a lot of these have, you know, like synopses. These are all like Harlequin printed, so they're very typical in that they have synopses of the next book or another book in the back. So it's kind of hard to get to the main, okay, 430 pages. So again, these will probably be quick reads, but that's what we're looking at for that one. Next up, I have another Debbie Maycomer. That is The Perfect Christmas. I don't know if this is a 2021 release, but I do believe it's one of her, 2021 release. First published in 2009 though. So that is, I think, are there 2 stories in this? Yeah, there are actually 2 stories, a short story and a longer story in this. I picked this up because it was at Kroger. That's kind of like the most accessible place. Like most people have a grocery store, either a Walmart or a Kroger style store, and this is going to be on the shelves at both of them. So I definitely thought this would be a good one to read, or to see if it was interesting in any way, because a lot of people could get access to it. So I will definitely be reviewing this one if I can get to it. It is much shorter, 298 pages, and there's 2 stories in it. So I will be checking it on that one. The other 2021, I believe, release or most recent release, again, that I bought at Target because it was, you know, on the shelves there, and I had seen it on many recommendation lists for books that were coming out in 2021, is The Christmas Wedding Guest. I had to read through the sticker. I hate stickers on my books. This is about girls who... or girls, I say girls. When I say girls, I mean women, adult women who are going through some stuff in their lives, and they, you know, one of them has had a recent breakup, and they've kind of lost faith in love, but they go home to their parents' vow renewal ceremony. And that's sort of the plan of this whole story here. I think one of the sisters probably falls in love with a wedding guest, hence The Christmas Wedding Guest. That's probably, you know, these tend to be kind of predictable, but we will see. It might totally blow my mind. And I'm excited to read it. This is kind of my way of binging Hallmark Christmas movies this year. And a lot of these probably have Hallmark Christmas movies for them, so I might even try to watch some of those if I get really into it. but we will see how that shakes out in the end. I really like this one. This one had a lot of really good reviews online, so I'm excited to jump into this one as well. I said I believe that the last one was the last new release, but I do have one other new release, I believe. Yeah, this is a 2021 release. I think this came out a few weeks ago, probably right around when I bought it, and that is The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox. So this is described on the back of the book is Gilmore Girls meets The Parent Trap meets Cake Wars, which, yes. Just yes, across the board. That strikes every single interest category in my existence. I am a huge Gilmore Girls fan, so if you put that on a comps list for a book, I'm very likely at least going to read the synopsis. Like, you've picked something that I'm really interested in. Idea of the story is twin sisters. One is a famous, I guess, baker that's going on a Cake Wars style show who loses her sense of taste and smell and is unable to compete. But she doesn't want to lose her spot, so she trades places with her twin sister, and then kind of falls in love running the family bakery. Obviously baking is in their genes, apparently, based on that synopsis. But that's kind of the sort of the outline of what's going on with this story. I'm pretty interested in it. It is definitely short. And probably going to be a quick read. So I'm excited to see how this one shakes out because it seems very much my style. It's also kind of the inner holidays of this season. Every year there's like one big release Christmas story, and that's kind of what this one's kind of shaking out to be, it seems like. There are a couple others, but this is the only one that was widely available, and that's kind of the theme of this log, is like, what could you pick up at Kroger on Christmas Eve to read if you really wanted some good Christmas vibes. So this one's probably going to be there, and that's why I picked it up. The last two books are books that I got at the thrift store. Well, I guess not the thrift store, but Half Price Books. And I was really interested in them because of their synopses. This book is The Corner of Holly and Ivy. This kind of makes a Grinch reference. You know, she feels like she's not in the Christmas spirit, and that's part of the story. She's a wedding dress designer, and her like dreams come tumbling down. Again, I'm reading just the first few like lines of the synopsis there. That's something I'm super interested in. I like reading about, you know, major downfalls that turn someone's life around, and it happens a lot in, again, romance and women's fiction. But this one and the other one I'm about to talk about, these are on the bottom of my list. I'm not as interested in these as the other ones that I've already read about. So I might not get to these this year, and that's totally okay. If they end up back at Half Price Books next year, like, that's cool. I might even put them in the little free library. But these were obviously things that were popular when they came out originally. There were several copies of each of these at Half Price Books, at the Half Price Books that I bought them at, so that felt like a pretty good indicator that they were probably easy to find. So that is this one. The other is All I Want for Christmas Is You. So this is about a surprise pregnancy trope in romance. That is something that I have read several times. I remember one of the first romance novels I ever really enjoyed was a Danielle Steele called Heartbeat. And I read that when I was like 13, probably way too young to be reading it, but I just happened to get my hands on the copy and I really loved it. It was a sort of a surprise pregnancy trope, and I really enjoyed that story. So when this one said that they, you know, they had a one night stand and ended up surprise pregnant, and they kind of have to figure out life, you know, it's also a fake engagement trope. So I think this one will be interesting. It's definitely not something I would normally gravitate toward. Like if you were just sitting me down and giving me a list of books to pick from, this was not one that I would normally pick. But something about it kind of called to me, I guess, in the moment, and so I picked it up to read. I'm really excited to get to it someday, but if it doesn't get to me this year, that's okay. My goal for all of these Christmas novels is to read, you know, as many of them as I can in the month of November, maybe the first week of December, and then get out the video by the end of the month, so that, or by the middle of the month, so that anyone who wants to pick up a Christmas romance, you know, like I said, at their Kroger or their local Half Price Books, and they have an idea for what they want to read, I can give some summaries on the things that I found super close to me that I think would also be really good reads. So that is the whole of my TBR for November. It's actually, I believe, 8, 9, 10. It's 10 books. Last month I read 13. I did listen to probably 10 of the 13 books. No, that's not true. I listened to 7 or 8 of the books that I read in the month of October. So the likelihood is that I'll be picking up a couple of these that I have in physical copy through my library's Audible or audio interface. And I'm excited to do that. I like to listen to books while I work, and that tends to be a way that I get a lot of my reading done. So that like opens me up to read some of the thicker things like the Wheel of Time series when I have that extra time that is not being dedicated to reading romance novels. So that's where I'm at. As you guys can probably tell, I read a lot of stuff from a lot of different genres. I have no like crazy preferences. I can read things like thrillers or domestic thrillers. Not really my cup of tea. I would much rather go on the horror side of things, or, you know, psychological thrillers. I'm not into so much the domestic thriller side, but other than that, I really read everything. So in the comments down below, if you like watching my videos and are interested in giving me some recommendations, I'd love to hear some video ideas if you have any for next year. I'm kind of trying to put together a content plan for next year of things that you'd like for me to read about. I have an idea to do a witchy read through. I have a bunch of books that kind of feature witches as the front runners. So I've got some witchy books I want to read. I already have horror books out the butt for next year to read in spooky season. I'll probably read horror throughout the year. This will probably be the only month that I don't read like specifically like a majority horror, thriller, psychological, paranormal type of stuff. That tends to be what I gravitate toward. But I'd love to hear thoughts on things that I could pick up that you think would be interesting or align with my thoughts that I've already given in this or my other videos. I'm always looking for new ideas, and I'd love to hear from you. So thank you so much for watching my TBR. I can't wait to share with you throughout this month what I read and how it goes. I can't wait to share the Christmas recommendations with you. It's going to be really exciting for me to be able to give recommendations for one of my favorite types of books and genres of books, which is Christmas romance. So if you like this video, hit the like button down below. If you are interested in getting notifications about my videos, hit the bell icon and hit the subscribe button if you want to see my videos in your sub box. And again, hit the comments below if you have any ideas for things you think I should read or video ideas that you'd like to see from me. And thank you for visiting my messy library. Talk to you later.